All right, so I got to know, how are you guys enjoying Update 7? Sound off in the comments down below. What do you think of the new PvE map, the new boss battle, and so on? Please leave your unfiltered thoughts. But you know what? We got some brand new replies from the dev team about Update 7, what they're potentially looking into changing, fixing, and also your critical feedback about things like the prestige system, because the dev team did respond about that one. Is that going to be changing in the future? That's the big question. Plus, yeah, we're going to go over some unpopular opinions which are gaining some traction within the community. And as always, I'm going to go over your top comments. But we do have this right here because a lot of you guys were concerned about this one, and we have confirmation from the dev team. Here's the announcement. So there's currently an issue with the final regalia war gear of the assault class being locked as a reward for Prestige 4. This is a bug. Our teams are currently working on a fix. The real Prestige 4 reward for assault is a jump pack. So there you go. So I did mention it in my previous video that it was highly likely a bug. So yeah, there's confirmation that it is a bug, so you can have a sigh of relief. And if you're bummed that you don't have access to that reward currently, that is going to be fixed for you guys. Now, we also have some other responses from the dev team and announcements. Check it out right here. So they are aware of an unlocking issue also for the Imperial Fist Champion Pack for the Ultra Edition owners, and they're actively working on a fix. But guess what? Apparently that's already fixed. So the Imperial Fist DLC should now be accessible if you own the Ultra Edition. Sound off if that's the case. Hopefully it is actually fixed. Now, we have this question right here. Could we politely request a Trigun kill ordeal? And the response is this: there will be more ordeals in future updates, but not in 7.0. So likely we might see more in update 8. I'll let you guys know if that's actually the case, but it's cool to know that they're going to be expanding that in the future and perhaps tie in some pretty nifty rewards, I hope. But let's check out this one right here. You know, if there's a plan to include new grenades, and the response is this: I don't think so. New equipment is not planned at the moment. However, I gotta ask, if you would like to see any type of new equipment, what would it be? What type of grenade types would you potentially like to see in the future if that does end up being a thing? Now, this is where it gets interesting. We have today really just isn't going well for anyone. The devs are getting chewed through, some players aren't having fun with the prestige perks, and everyone is just at each other's throats. Wow, I really thought today was going to be an alright day. Let me know how you guys are feeling though. Are you guys enjoying Update 7? I've seen a lot of players really enjoying this latest updates, and of course there are players that are kind of bummed out about things, including that prestige system. Here's another take, a response to that. I mean, they had PTS feedback. If they had read it, they would have known that this patch was not going to be good. Sadly, Saber doesn't care. And I beg to differ. I really do think that they do care, that they are trying to get it right. And in my mind, I already know what a prestige system is. You know, I played my fair share of games like Call of Duty, and usually when you go into prestiging in those games, you really do have a sense of, I guess you would say, resetting, starting over, and that's part of the challenge. But it seems like a big part of this community doesn't like that idea of having to work from, you know, level 1 all the way up to 25 yet again. And we do have a response from the community team representing the dev team about not caring, and this is what they had to say: that is not true. We have been reading your PTS feedback. The thing you're complaining about is a design choice that we carefully studied. We simply don't have the same point of view regarding this design. We never wanted to make prestige something mandatory. For us, it's simply an extra for players who want to start over again. It's perfectly fine if you decide to not prestige your classes. You won't need it to beat the hardest difficulty level. So they're saying it's completely optional. Furthermore, they want to say this right here: it is designed this way. As we said, prestiging is completely optional, as the perks unlocked are not mandatory to complete the game in the hardest difficulty. And regarding the prestige system, sound off how you guys are feeling about it currently. Do you feel like it's okay that it's completely optional and how it currently works? It is very reminiscent of other prestige systems from other games, even like Call of Duty, so I'm not surprised that the system is the way it is. We also have this right here: unpopular opinion: resetting perks with prestige is fine. Yeah, I'm that person who supports that. Resetting everything is a norm for around a decade for me, and it keeps the game fresh. I don't mind leveling again, especially now when it is ultra fast. Space Marine 2 received a huge shakeup in the meta in the way of a second huge rebalance of everything: weapon perks, class perks, just another reason to go back to roots and give less popular perks a second chance. So some people are viewing this as, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go through this and take a second look at things that perhaps I was ignoring that have been buffed this go around. So that's an interesting take for sure. Is that what you guys plan to do? But everyone's different. Some people do not like to have to grind whatsoever, considering they already grinded. But again, it's completely optional. You can completely ignore the prestige system, which is interesting because a lot of the times when I play games like Call of Duty or what have you, I do ignore the prestige system, you know. However, you know, my twin bro Ryan, he does not. He goes into prestige all the time, but I myself, like, you know what, I don't feel like it's worth it. It's optional. Now, we also have this right here. Is there any word on fixing the issue where the game is not launching with the 4K texture pack on? The response is this: we're still investigating on this one. So if you are having problems with that, it was also recommended to disable that currently, I suppose, but they are working on a fix. I don't have that issue currently for myself though, so it's interesting that that's cropped up. We also have annoying connectivity issues. That's basically the common general problems being reported here is severe lag spikes, despite having 20 to 30 ping, not being able to find players, etc. Loading screens being stuck. That's what I've seen this morning. Here's the response. We've seen as well on our side since yesterday in our investigating. As I said above, you can communicate us your KSIBA codes when this problem occurs, so we can see where this issue comes from. So looking into this one, hopefully they can resolve it. I am wondering if those connection issues are revolving around the fact that they did that update where they're trying to match you into lobbies where you aren't getting duplicate classes. So that might actually be more of an issue here. They might have made that too intense of an update on that side. We'll see what they have to say about it, but I am curious to see if that has impacted the load times into lobbies. All right, but you know, mentioning the prestige system, there was this out on the subreddit, which is a positive. You can reset just the prestige perks when you hit max prestige. So that is at least some good news. And there are also people wondering, hey, how do I level up quickly? It took me days to bring one class to 25. How are people hitting max prestige in 2 days? Someone posted they did it in just over 7 hours first day. If that's all you're doing, it's not that hard. Haven't had the time to start it yet myself, but I'm looking forward to seeing how long it will take me. I mean, I'm just playing with friends on Absolute, so that makes it easier. Plus, you get an XP bonus for higher prestige levels. And even in the new operation, there's ways to kind of like beeline it through without even attacking some of these enemies, even on like lower difficulties, to where you can kind of rank up very, very quickly. So that is also another option. But what have you guys found to be the most useful way to kind of prestige level up very, very quickly? And, you know, there's a part of the community that feels like people are just complaining way too much. This one actually made me laugh a bunch. And, you know, I feel like feedback is feedback, especially when it's useful, critical feedback. And it's not just complaining to complain, of course, but there's definitely a lot of just like complaining to complain. No doubt. I still feel like update 7 is one of the best updates for the game. We have one of the best PvE maps by far that has just been introduced into the game, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing with Horde mode. I gotta say it. Now, there were some other complaints, I guess you would call them, or feedback, as I would like to say. Check it out. I hate to be nitpicky complainer. I'm really happy we got the studs finally, but why is it only on the right shoulder when it's almost always depicted on the left? Check it out right here. Here's the in-game version of it, of course, but we do have some references. I believe this is Space Marine 1, where it's on the left side, and then maybe that wasn't Space Marine 1, but then we have some actual, you know, like official artwork showcasing that. Again, it is on the left side. So it seems like you guys want the studded version of that to be optional on the left shoulder. Maybe that'll be a thing in the future, but we'll have to wait on official replies from the dev team, of course. All right, so I think you guys know what time it is. It is time to go over your top comments. Love reading your comments, so please be sure to leave them down below. But let's do this. Let's see what you guys had to say on my most recent video. All right, check it out. I find it kind of funny and annoying that they have given us the ability to color the cloth on Bulwark, but not Sniper's Cloak. Maybe that's coming next. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what type of features they add in. I wouldn't be surprised if they did ultimately allow us to customize the Sniper's Cloak, considering what we got with the Bulwark. So it seems like it would be doable. Let's cross our fingers that that actually ends up being a thing. Now we have people complaining about cosmetics being locked behind prestige. Levels never grew up playing games with prestige ranks in OG Call of Duty or Gears of War or other games with prestige systems. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's what I grew up on, and I'm used to it, and I'm always used to it being completely optional as something that is an extra. And yes, it always came with some sort of rewards as well. And I'm like, not really interested in those rewards. I'm good. You know, I don't have to prestige. But maybe some of these cosmetics are so alluring to you guys that you do want to actually prestige and you feel like it's too grindy. Again, that might be the issue. And we got this one right here. Is anyone else noticing bugs and considerable amounts of lag? Grenades aren't exploding. Melta bombs aren't detonating. I'm having to reload my primary and secondary 3 and 4 times. Gun strikes not going off. Now that one right there, I have noticed. And that, I was like, whoa, that's the first time I've ever had that happen. I'm on land, by the way, and closed app several times. So yeah, something has happened since update 7. It feels a little bit wonky and a little bit off. And I mean, I'm having like gun strikes not hitting. That usually does not happen. So it's kind of strange. So yeah, definitely something going on there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys also for all the comments, and look out for more Space Marine 2 news and updates. I have you guys covered. And also let me know what other games you'd like for me to cover on the channel. I'm very curious. Please let me know by all means in those comments. But thank you guys, and I will see you all next time. Take care.